Hi, I'm Robert Pickett with the Portland Police Bureau.
And I'm Michelle Poyero with the Bicycle Transportation Alliance.
The video you're about to see was meant to inform Portland police officers about the City of Portland's bicycle transportation policy and remind them about some of Oregon's bicycle-related traffic laws. As you can see, the Oregon Vehicle Code is quite hefty. As a police officer, I'd be the first to admit that such reminders can be quite valuable.
Also, the widespread popularity of bicycling is relatively new to Portland and to the Portland Police Bureau. Helping officers hone their skills and their knowledge about common bike enforcement situations is one of the ways the Bureau can help make bicycling even safer and more comfortable than it is today.
This video is also meant to advise officers' discretion in bicycle enforcement situations. Discretion is an indispensable part of police work, as it allows officers to reasonably apply a written code to the huge variety of specific enforcement situations they encounter every day. We expect officers to take the suggestions in this video as advice and not as a mandate. And the members of the public should not interpret any part of this video as exempting them from following the letter of the law.
If you'd like to learn more about bike laws or take a free class on urban biking skills, come visit us at the Bicycle Transportation Alliance, www.bta4bikes.org.
This video was created with the valuable advice and help of the Bicycle Transportation Alliance, the City of Portland Bureau of Transportation, and the City of Portland's Bicycle Advisory Committee.
Over the past decade, the City of Portland has invested in bicycle infrastructure and programs with the goal of increasing bicycle ridership. The hope is to decrease vehicle emissions, congestion, and road wear while increasing the fitness and sense of community of Portland citizens. This policy has resulted in a dramatic increase in trips taken by bicycle since 2000 and a significant change in Portland's bicycling culture. The outlaw edginess that was a prominent part of the old scene is being overwhelmed by a flood of mainstream citizens who bike for health, thrift, the environment, and fun. The biggest concern of the typical rider is safety. The biggest concern of the typical motorist is that bike riders be predictable. Regardless of their chosen vehicle, citizens look to you for guidance on how to share the roads safely. Recently, a group of bike-savvy patrol and traffic officers met to propose enforcement guidelines for you for some common bike traffic enforcement scenarios. In helping to inform your discretion, an emphasis was placed not on the strict letter of the law, but on enforcement that best uses scarce resources to promote safe sharing of our roads.
The group suggests you use 4 criteria to determine enforcement priority: available law, safety, sharing, and education. Let's apply these criteria to a few of the more problematic scenarios officers face. One of the biggest problem areas has been the right hook. In general, the responsibility for avoiding collisions between cars and bikes in a bike lane falls on drivers. ORS provides the right-of-way to bikes in bike lanes. However, bicycles can forfeit this right-of-way through extreme behavior. Examples of dangerous bicyclist behavior may include a bicyclist riding in excess of the speed limit and disregarding a car's turn signal, or riding with no bike light or reflectors at night. Examples of dangerous driver behavior include distractions such as cell phone use, making no effort to look for bikes, being ignorant of the rules, or not using a turn signal. This is a flashpoint for rider-driver relations because of the number of conflicts and the vulnerability of people riding bikes. Portland bike planning and policy depends on drivers becoming better at avoiding conflicts when turning across bike lanes.
These situations present a difficult challenge for the Police Bureau because the public often expects us to determine civil fault at these scenes, and they look at citation decisions as a public announcement of who was right and who was wrong. Officers do perform an important function by collecting information and evidence for the eventual civil parties, but as with almost all traffic work, whether you write a citation or not should depend on your evaluation of the need to affect the future behavior of the driver, bicyclist, and the public at large.
Oregon statutes prohibit impeding traffic, require that bicyclists generally stay as close as practicable to the edge of a roadway, and use bike lanes or bike paths when available. However, these statutes also allow bikes to leave the edge of the roadway, leave a bike lane, or move from one side of a multi-lane road to the other in order to avoid hazards, pass, or make a turn. These laws are vague enough that judges and officers have not been able to agree on consistent enforcement. The Portland Bureau of Transportation educates bike riders to operate away from bike lanes or the edges of the roadway when necessary for safety. The Bureau of Transportation has also designed many miles of bicycle boulevards, which prioritize the movement of bicycles, usually resulting in calmer, safer operation of all vehicles. It is expected that bicyclists will operate reasonably with regard for other road users and cross lanes of traffic when they can articulate a safety reason for doing so. The group feels it is best to watch a rider's behavior to determine if the rider and cars are sharing the road in a reasonable manner. Before making a citation decision, ask a rider the reason for taking the lane when other options seem to be available. All in all, given Portland's desire to have motor vehicles become accustomed to bikes in the travel lane, we feel that impeding should be a low enforcement priority unless a biker intends to inconvenience drivers. Look at the totality of circumstances and remember that the Oregon Careless Driving Law can be used to address dangerous lane changes and transits as well.
You may encounter large groups of bicyclists traveling to or between events. Themed group rides are becoming more common in Portland during the warmer months and especially in June during the 2 weeks of Pedalpalooza. At first glance, the groups may resemble critical mass, but they are often nothing like it. These aren't protests aimed at traffic disruption, but are semi-organized processions of good-humored fun seekers who don't want confrontation with law enforcement.
You have the authority to direct traffic on city streets, so these groups must follow your directions on how to use the road. Your goal should be the safe and efficient movement of these large groups with minimal disruption to other modes of traffic. Typically, it will be best to limit the group to using one lane of a multi-lane road. To move the groups through intersections quickly and minimize traffic conflicts, you should require the lead to stop at stop signs and then allow en masse passage as long as there's no conflict with cross traffic. In general, you should require a group to obey traffic lights and shouldn't allow them to block cross traffic when the cross traffic has a green light. This will break some groups up, but avoids what has been a volatile flashpoint of conflict with cross traffic. However, if you feel the goal is better served by blocking cross traffic, you also have that discretion. Blocking traffic can support a discount charge, while use of multiple lanes may support citations for impeding or improper lane usage. Officers who need to alter the behavior of a group ride might first attempt to communicate with a ride leader about their concerns. Policing large groups of mobile bicyclists is a specialty, and you should bring in a traffic officer if you have any questions about how to manage one of these events.
Much like speed enforcement, the question is how to spread our enforcement resources in a way that does the most good. ORS 811-265 gives you clear authority to cite when a bicycle or a car doesn't come to a complete stop, just like the speed laws allow a citation for 36 miles per hour in a 35. With stop sign running, the danger obviously increases as the speed increases. In addition, damage is done to the confidence of all road users in their ability to safely share the road. The group feels that a bicyclist's speed and apparent care should guide you in deciding whether to cite. If a cyclist approaches an intersection at walking pace or less and is attentive, enforcement resources may best be used elsewhere. There should be a significant enforcement interest once the speed is above a walking pace or if the cyclist is not looking. And enforcement should be a very high priority when stop signs are blown at high speed or in a reckless manner. Some other problem areas identified by the group of patrol and traffic officers include
drivers passing bicyclists too closely at speeds above 35 miles an hour, no lights on bikes at night, failure of bicyclists to yield to pedestrians, and the running of red lights. All of these behaviors can be very dangerous and lead to serious accidents. They create considerable tension between road users of all kinds, which leads to increased conflict and often to confrontations that escalate out of hand.
In these cases, if your discussion with a violator doesn't give you confidence that the behavior will not be repeated, our officers advise that enforcement through citation should be a high priority.